Hi guys, it's Izzy, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my anticipated releases for the rest of 2020. I was going to do a video talking about my most anticipated releases for like early 2021, but I figured that I actually still had a lot of books that I was really excited for this year, so I'm going to discuss those instead, and I will be making a 2021 in like October, November time, and that would be for like, I want to do like 3 a year, so like for the first third, the second third, and the last third of the year is my plan for next year. But today we're just going to talk about the books that are coming out in the rest of 2020 that I'm super excited for. I do have a couple arcs that I'm really excited for, but because I put them in my book haul in my last video, I'm not going to talk about those because I don't want to talk about them again. So these are books that I don't own but I'm excited for, and yeah, because I'll be reading the arcs and talking about them in wrap-ups and stuff. So yeah, we're just going to talk about books that I don't currently have in my possession, but books I'm very excited for. Like, it's like half sequels and half like debut novels or new like standalone novels. So without further ado, let's get started. I am going to be referring to the Goodreads descriptions a lot because obviously I don't have these books, so I can't give you much more of a description than what's on Goodreads, but from what I've read on Goodreads, these books have me very excited. So I think I'm going to start off with the sequels that I'm really excited for and then move on to the like standalone novels. The first sequel that I'm super excited for is Tower of Nero by Rick Riordan. This is the fifth and final book in the Trials of Apollo series, and I am so excited to see how this ends. This is a series that I think has just got better and better with each book, and I don't love it as much as Heroes of Olympus, but The Tyrant's Tomb, which came out last year, really did take it to the next level, and I'm so excited to see the finale of it. I have actually purchased a ticket to his like online book tour because he was doing a book tour in America, which I can never go to because I live in England, but he changed it to a virtual tour and your girl's going, and I'm paying a lot of money for international shipping for a signed edition of it, even though it won't match my editions because I have the British editions and this one will be the American edition because it's signed from America. So is this a good choice? Maybe not, because it will look weird on my shelves, but do I want a book that Rick Riordan has touched? Yes, because let's say it together, Izzy is the biggest Rick Riordan stan ever. You can watch my previous videos, you can see the proof there. Excuse me, viewfinder, could you look at me? So yeah, if you don't know, Trials of Apollo is about Apollo, who is cast down from Olympus after making a fatal mistake, and so he's cast down by Zeus and is made mortal, and in order to have his god status reinstated, he has to fix the 5 oracles which have stopped working, and in doing that he comes across the triumvirate, not sure how you say it, which are 3 emperors who have come back and are trying to take over the world basically. It's great, and I'm so excited for the conclusion. And wow, that was a loud bird. And there's going to be a wheelchair user in this book, finally, a demigod who is disabled. Guys, it's happening. It's happening, and I just want to say right now, I'm probably going to cry. Sorry. So yeah, I'm excited for that. The next sequel that I'm super hyped for is Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. This is the 3rd book in the Nevermore series, which again is one of my all-time favourite series ever. I adore it. I love it with all my heart. The first 2 books are just sensational. It's a middle grade fantasy series about a girl called Morrigan Crow who is destined to die on her 11th birthday, but just before that happens, she is whisked away by an eccentric man called Jupiter North, who takes her to the wonderful magical world of Nevermore, and she has to compete in 3 trials to become a member of the Wonder Society, which is like the best thing in Nevermore, and yeah, that's what it's about. I obviously won't say what book 3 is about because spoilers, but I am so hyped for this. I think I did mention it in my most anticipated releases of 2020, but I just want to say it again because no words for how excited I am. The next sequel I'm super excited for is Ironheart by Nina Varela. This is the second and final book in the Cryer's War duology. I loved Cryer's War. It was such an amazing read. It's like a sapphic sci-fi fantasy book that follows this world where there's these like robots that are basically humans, and they have like taken over the kingdom, and so the humans are like having to serve them, but they're treating the humans really badly, so the humans are trying to revolt, and this girl Ayla wants to kill the princess Cryer because she wants revenge, but then they have to work together. It's like enemies to lovers sapphic romance. It's chef's kiss. And Ironheart, here I come. Like, I'm so pumped. Do I need to buy another book? No. Am I going to? 100%. And the final sequel that will also 100% make you cry is A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabatir, the 4th and final book in the An Ember in the Ashes quartet. We also know that I stan An Ember in the Ashes hard. I love it. It's one of the best fantasy series, like young adult fantasy series out there. It's incredible. I love it so much, and like Sabatir is so talented, and like I know a lot of people have read it, but I still think it deserves more hype because it's just so good. Like, I love it, and I'm just so excited like where book 3 left off. This book is gonna destroy me. If you don't know, An Ember in the Ashes is like a Roman emperor inspired fantasy series that follows the main character Laia and the other main character Elias, and Laia has to become a slave to save her brother, and so she has to serve the commandant of this empire, and in doing so she meets Elias, who is the commandant's son, but who is trying to leave the martial like warriors because he doesn't believe that what they're doing is right, and their paths cross. There's magical beings, there's magical powers, there's a whole like emperor, there's this like female character who is kind of evil but is so fascinating, and like it's so good. I have talked about it in plenty of my other videos, so I won't go on about it for longer because I could literally talk about it forever. Also, I truly apologise for my hair, like it's got so long. It's the next book I think we are all collectively so excited for is The Invisible Life of Addy LaRue by Victoria Schwab. I have pre-ordered the signed special edition of this because I just know I'm gonna love it. Like, I rarely do that because if I don't know I'm gonna love a book, I don't want to spend like extra money on a special edition book. But I just know in my soul that this is gonna be a book I adore. And as pretty much what I know about it is a girl makes a deal with the devil for like 300 years she has like immortal life, but in doing so I think she sold her soul to the devil in exchange for longer life. and it follows their like relationship over these centuries, and I think people forget her, which is why she's invisible. She's not invisible, but like I think people forget her. I don't really know. Okay, I just know that it's apparently got the most beautiful writing ever, that it's like is just stunning and is just like will make you cry, will just give. I just know in my heart, in my soul, I just know that it's going to be maybe my favourite book of the year. Apart from King of Crows, obviously. That goes without saying. On Goodreads, the description is a life no one will remember, a story you will never forget. France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman makes a Faustian bargain to live forever and is cursed to be forgotten by everyone she meets. Thus begins the extraordinary life of Addy LaRue, and a dazzling adventure that will play out across centuries and continents, across history and art, as a young woman learns how far she will go to leave her mark on the world. But everything changes when, after nearly 300 years, Addy stumbles across a young man in a hidden bookstore, and he remembers her name. I'm ready. Also, according to Victoria Schwab, no one in this book is straight, and like that's the energy I'm here for. Another book that I think the whole of the book community is collectively excited for is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is a Latinx fantasy, like urban fantasy novel that has a trans main character, and I'm just going to refer to the Goodreads summary so that, you know, we can get some accuracy here. It says, Yadriel has summoned a ghost and now he can't get rid of him. When his traditional Latinx family has problems accepting his gender, Yadriel becomes determined to prove himself a real brujo. With the help of his cousin and best friend Maritza, he performs a ritual himself and then sets out to find the ghost of his murdered cousin and set it free. However, the ghost he summons is actually Julian Diaz, the school's resident bad boy, and Julian is not about to go quietly into death. He's determined to find out what happened and tie up some loose ends before he leaves. Left with no choice, Yadriel agrees to help Julian so that they can both get what they want, but the longer Yadriel spends with Julian, the less he wants to let him leave. We love trans male romance, like, yes, give it to me. Its own voices, it's magical, it's gonna be incredible. I just know it, and I also have this one on pre-order because I just can just feel it in my soul. Like, I just know. Also, I've just realised I haven't been saying when these come out because I'm dumb, but from now on, I'll tell you when they come out. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible YouTuber. The next book I'm super excited for is This Is All Your Fault by Amina May Safi, which comes out on the 13th of October. And Amina May Safi wrote Tell Me How You Really Feel, which I haven't read, but I do own and I'm super excited for it. I know all my friends love it. And that was the sapphic, like, hate to love romance. And this is another sapphic book because Amina May Safi is really giving us what we need. And it says that over the course of one day, This Is All Your Fault is a smart and voice-driven YA novel that follows three young women determined to save their indie bookstore. Rin Oliveira is finally going to tell her longtime crush AJ that she's in love with him. Daniela Correz writes poetry for her own account, but nobody knows it's her. Imogen Azar is just trying to make it through the day. When Rin, Daniela, and Imogen clock into work at Wild Night's bookstore on the first day of summer, they're expecting the hours to drift by the way they always do. Instead, they have to deal with the news that the bookstore is closing. Before the day is out, there'll be shaved heads, a diva author, and a very large shipment of Air Jordans to contend with, and it will take all three of them working together if they have any chance to save Wild Night's bookstore. Three girls saving a bookstore? Like, I'm sorry, did you just say the best book ever? Like, you can't tell me that's what a book is about and not expect me to literally want to cry with excitement. Like, that's just how it is. The next book I'm super hyped for, and I do actually have an e-arc of this, so I tell a lie. I do have an e-arc of this, but this is the only one I have an e-arc of. That's Who I Was With Her by Nita Tyndall, which sounds incredible. I know one of my friends Amber's read it and literally like sobbed, and I just know it's gonna like it's just gonna make me cry so much. I can just tell these things, okay? And I'm sorry I have to keep referring to the Goodreads description, but like I say, that's all the information I have, so we're just gonna have to work with it, okay? This says, there are two things that Corinne Parker knows to be true: that she is in love with Maggie Bailey, the captain of the rival high school's cross-country team, and her secret girlfriend of the year, and that she isn't ready for anyone to know she's bisexual. But then Maggie dies, and Corinne quickly learns that the only thing worse than losing Maggie is being left heartbroken over a relationship no one knows existed. And to make things even more complicated, the only person she can turn to is Alyssa, Maggie's ex, and the single person who understands how Corinne is feeling. As Corinne struggles to make sense of her grief and what she truly wants out of life, she begins to have feelings for the last person she should fall for. But to move forward after losing Maggie, Corinne will have to learn to be honest with the people in her life, starting with herself. Which sounds like a sapphic version of History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera, and like, that book destroyed me, and this book is going to be sapphic, so it's going to like triply destroy me, so I'm ready. And that comes out on the 15th of September. Did I already say that? Editing is, you can find out. The next book I'm really excited for that comes out in September is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. If you think that name is familiar, it's because she wrote Uprooted and Spinning Silver, which are pretty widely loved books. I actually DNF'd Uprooted because the plot just didn't keep me super entertained, but I have Spinning Silver and I really am excited to read it because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it. And this book just sounds like so crazy, but like in the best way, and I am literally so excited for it. I'm pretty sure it's September's Illumicrate book, and I have an Illumicrate subscription till December, so I'm excited to get this one. And it says, A Deadly Education is set at Scholomance, a school for the magically gifted where failure means certain death. For real. Until one girl, Elle, begins to unlock its many secrets. There are no teachers, no holidays, and no friendships, save strategic ones. Survival is more important than any letter grade, for the school won't allow its students to leave until they graduate or die. The rules are deceptively simple. Don't walk the halls alone, and beware of the monster who lurk everywhere. Elle is uniquely prepared for the school's dangers. She may be without allies, but she possesses a dark power strong enough to level mountains and wipe out millions. It would be easy enough for Elle to defeat the monsters that prowl the school. The problem? Her powerful dark magic might also kill all the other students. A school that literally tries to kill you, and in order to graduate, it's pretty much just survive. Like, I'm sorry. How do you not want to read that book? Like, it's impossible to not want to read that book. Like, it sounds so good. I'm like beyond hyped. Another book which I am beyond excited about is Ruin Song by Julia Ember. It's like one sentence is just, in Julia Ember's dark and lush LGBTQ romantic fantasy Ruin Song, two young women from rival factions must work together to reunite their country as they wrestle with their feelings for each other. Do I even need to read on? Do I? No. I will, but I don't need to because I'm already sold. It says, her voice was her prison, now it's her weapon. In a world where magic is sung, a powerful mage named Cadence has been forced to torture her country's disgraced nobility at her ruthless queen's bidding. But when she is reunited with her childhood friend, a noblewoman with ties to the underground rebellion, she must finally make a choice: take a stand to free their country from oppression, or follow in the queen's footsteps and become a monster herself. I need this book and I need it now. Like, I'm not joking. Also, this cover, whichever side I put it, stunning. Stunning. Honestly, is my book buying ban gonna work? No, because have you heard about these books that are coming out? Like, how am I not supposed to buy all of these? Someone said help. Another book which I think quite a lot of people are excited for, but I don't know if loads of people know about it. But that's These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which is a Romeo and Juliet inspired retelling, and it says perfect for the fans of The Last Magician, which I read a couple months ago, or maybe in like March, maybe. And I gave it 4 stars and I really enjoyed it, so that already was like a good sign, because I was like, okay, I really enjoyed The Last Magician, so this sounds promising already. But it says, this heart-stopping debut is an imaginative Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1920 Shanghai, with rival gangs and a monster in the depths of the Huangpu River. We all know I'm obsessed with the 1920s thanks to The Diviners, but 1920 Shanghai? I'm intrigued. And it says, the year is 1926 and Shanghai hums to the tune of debauchery. A blood feud between 2 gangs runs the streets red, leaving the city helpless in the grip of chaos. At the heart of it all is 18-year-old Juliet Kai, a former flapper who has returned to assume her role as the proud heir of the Scarlet Gang, a network of criminals far above the law. Their only rivals in power are the White Flowers, who have fought the Scarlets for generations, and behind every move is their heir, Roma Montegov, Juliet's first love and first betrayal. But when gangsters on both sides show signs of instability culminating in clawing their own throats out, the people start to whisper of a contagion, a madness, of a monster in the shadows. As the deaths stack up, Juliet and Roma must set their guns and grudges aside and work together, for if they can't stop this mayhem, then there will be no city left for either to rule. Like 2 morally grey characters in 1920 Shanghai who have to begrudgingly work together because there's an evil in the city. How can you not be hyped for this book? Honestly, I shouldn't have made this video because now I'm just even more hyped than I thought. This is bad. I need to stop. Someone make me stop wanting to read all of these books. Oh, another book which I just know is gonna be my book. Like, I can just tell, and it's so exciting. And it's actually a translated work. I'm not 100% sure what the original language was. It doesn't actually say in the Goodreads description, but it's translated, and it's called Here the Whole Time by Vital Martins, and it's pitched as the charm and humour of To All the Boys I've Loved Before meets Dumpling in this body-positive YA love story between 2 boys who must spend 15 days living with each other over school break. We all know I have a deep obsession with To All the Boys I've Loved Before. It's like one of my favourite series ever. It's just such a comfort for me, and just a series I found at just like the perfect time and just brings me a lot of joy. And so if anything is pitched as To All the Boys I've Loved Before meets something else, I'm gonna read it. Like, if you want me to read your book, just pitch it as To All the Boys I've Loved Before and I'm in. But like, I'm sorry, queer characters who are forced to spend time together in a small area. One of the best tropes. 10 out of 10. What have we done to deserve this? But I'll read you the rest, because you're welcome. It says, what would you do if you had to spend the next 15 days with your lifelong crush? I'm in. I'm literally in. I love best friends to lovers, or like childhood crushes. Like, I love that. It's one of my favourite tropes. Philippe gets it. He's fat, not chubby, not big boned, fat, and he doesn't need anyone to remind him, which is, of course, what everyone does. That's why he's been waiting for this moment ever since the school year began. School break. Finally, he'll be able to spend some time far away from school and the classmates who tease him incessantly. His plans include catching up on his favourite TV shows, finishing his to-be-read pile, and watching YouTube tutorials on skills he'll never actually put into practice. This is a call out. Like, is Philippe me? We'll find out. But things get a little out of hand when Philippe's mum informs him that Caio I think is how you say it. The neighbour kid from apartment 57 will be spending the next 15 days with him while his parents are on a vacation. Philippe is distraught because A, he's had a crush on Caio since, well, forever, and B, Philippe has a list of body image securities and absolutely no idea how he's going to entertain his neighbour for 2 full weeks. Suddenly the days ahead of him that once promised rest and relaxation, not to mention some epic Netflix binging, end up bringing a whirlwind of feelings, forcing Philippe to dive headfirst into every unresolved issues he's had with himself. But maybe, just maybe, he'll manage to win over Caio too. Does that not sound like the purest, sweetest, like we are truly being blessed by whoever translated this book? Because, like, what did we do to deserve this book? I literally, like, want it today. Like, can I have it now? Like, I'm not even joking. The next book that I'm super hyped for, you may think, Izzy, you can't be this excited for this many books. And you would be wrong. Because my excitement and passion knows no limits. There are no bounds to my excitement. None. I wish there was, to be honest, because do I have time to read all of these books? No. Am I gonna try? Yes. But the next one I'm excited for is Beyond the Ruby Veil by Mara Fitzgerald, which is pitched as a dark, queer YA fantasy that's perfect for the fans of the Three Dark Crowns series and Wicked Saints, which I have enjoyed Three Dark Crowns, but my main complaint from it was so obvious that 2 girls should have been together than one of the girls being with this boy. And I was like, if this was queer, it would be so much better and make so much more sense. But no, we have to be straight. We have to, yay for the straights. But like, why are they denying me this? Why? So if you tell me it's a queer YA dark fantasy similar to Three Dark Crowns, I'm in. And it says, after Emanuela Ragno kills the one person in Okia who can create water, she must find a way to save her city from dying of thirst. Emanuela Ragno always gets what she wants. With her daring mind and socialite schemes, she refuses to be the demure young lady everyone wants her to be. In her most ambitious move yet, she's about to marry Alessandro Morandi, her childhood best friend and the heir to the wealthiest house in Okia. Emanuela doesn't care that she and her groom are both gay because she doesn't want a love match. We love being beards for each other. We stan. She wants power, and through ale she'll have it. But Emanuela has a secret that could shatter her plans. In the city of Okia, the only source of water is the Water Kriya, a mysterious being who uses magic to make water from blood. When their first bruise-like omen appears on their skin, all Okians must surrender themselves to the Water Kriya to be drained of life. Everyone throughout history has given themselves up for the greater good. Everyone except Emanuela. She's kept the tiny omen on her hip out of sight for years. When the Water Kriya exposes Emanuela during her wedding ceremony and takes her to be sacrificed, Emanuela fights back and kills her. Now Okia has no one to make their water and no idea how to get more. In a race against time, Emanuela and Ale must travel through the mysterious blood-red veil that surrounds their city to uncover the secrets of the Water Kriya's magic and find a way to save their people, no matter what it takes. That sounds so creative, like probably the most creative sounding fantasy I've heard in a long time. It's such an interesting concept to talk about the lack of water and to have a creature that makes it from blood and people have to sacrifice themselves for it. Like, that sounds incredible. Like, how do you come up with that? I literally don't know. But I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna be obsessed with it. The penultimate book that I'm going to talk about in this video, because I don't want to make it too long, and we could be here forever if I listed every single book I was excited for, but we're gonna just talk about 2 more and then I will leave you in peace. But the next book is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. She wrote The 10 Doors of January, I think is what it's called. I never actually read that, but I know it was really beloved by a lot of people. So this one sounds much more up my street, and because I know everyone loves her writing so much, it's definitely one I'm super excited to pick up. It says, in 1893 there's no such thing as witches. There used to be, in the wild, dark days before the burnings began, but now witching is nothing but tidy charms and nursery rhymes. If the modern woman wants any measure of power, she must find it at the ballot box. But when the Eastwood sisters, James Juniper, Agnes Amaranth, and Beatrice Belladonna, join the suffragists of New Salem, they begin to pursue the forgotten words and ways that might turn the women's movement into the witches' movement. Stalked by shadows and sickness, hunted by forces who will not suffer a witch to vote, and perhaps not even to live, the sisters will need to delve into the oldest magics, draw new alliances, and heal the bond between them if they want to survive. There's no such thing as witches, but there will be. Sorry, feminists and suffragettes, the strong sister, trio, witches. It's like she wrote the book for me. Could I ask for anything more? I would love it to be sapphic. I think it might be, but I cannot confirm that. But if Post says it, Izzy can confirm that, then I'll put it on the screen. But, I don't really care because I'm excited either way. This sounds incredible, and also the cover is stunning. I love the cover so much. And do I need to pre-order another book? Yes, I do. My parents are literally going to kill me. And the final book I'm going to talk about is one that I've only found out about recently, but that's The Boneshard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. Someone I follow on Twitter tweeted about it being her favourite book that she's read so far this year, and it just was, I was just because I love hearing people's favourite books of the year, because I'm that's a pretty high place in someone's list, and so I always check out books that are people's favourites of the year, because it has to be pretty darn good to get that number one place, except if it's The Call of Mr. Fury, then it's not. But this time I think it sounds really cool, and it's another new fantasy book, but I'm pretty sure it's a standalone, which excites me because I really do like fantasy standalones, and I think it's a nice change of pace to the, sometimes super long series that we get quite often, especially in YA, and I think this might be adult, but I'm not sure. I'll put it on the screen and get. Did I research enough for this video? No. That's future Izzy's problem. So for now, I'm just going to read you the description. It says, in an empire controlled by Boneshard magic, Lynn, the former heir to the Emperor, will fight to reclaim her magic and her place on the throne. There's a fly somewhere. Could you not? The Boneshard Daughter marks the debut of a major new voice in epic fantasy. The Emperor's reign has lasted for decades, his mastery of Boneshard magic powering the animal-like constructs that maintain law and order, but now his rule is failing and revolution is sweeping across the Empire's many islands. Lynn is the Emperor's daughter and spends her days trapped in a palace of locked doors and dark secrets. When her father refuses to recognize her as heir to the throne, she vows to prove her worth by mastering the forbidden art of Boneshard magic. Yet such power carries a great cost, and when the revolution reaches the gates of the palace, Lynn must decide how far she is willing to go to claim her birthright and save her people. So, yeah, originally that one didn't sound super intriguing to me, although it does sound cool, but I've heard such great things about it that it's made me super excited for it. So I think it's gonna be a really impactful book and just one that just blows my mind. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, that's a pretty good summary of the books I'm really excited for the rest of the year. Although not completely extensive, there are probably a few I missed out and I just forgot about for no other reason than I have a terrible memory. But I'm so excited for all of them. I hope you found some new books to get excited about too. A lot of these are debut authors, own voices authors, queer authors, authors of colour, some really interesting new authors coming onto the scene, and also beloved authors coming out with some really cool new books. So yeah, I hope you're just as excited for the rest of 2020 as I am, and I will be doing my 2021 January through to April list in around October, November time. So yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!